It's undeniable that the gaming industry has undergone a profound, almost radical transformation over the years. This change isn't limited to technical advancements or artistic maturity. The very philosophy behind the medium seems to have shifted. When I think back to my childhood, the most vivid memories are of me, as a kid, completely immersed in games like Mario Kart. My mind was free from complicated thoughts. All I cared about was having fun, beating my friends in races, and feeling the adrenaline of competition. I didn't worry about graphics, social messaging, or inclusivity. It was a simpler time, and my only goal was pure enjoyment. Today, however, things have changed dramatically. The carefree spirit that once defined gaming seems to have been replaced by a more serious approach, one that often alienates the very players who were once the lifeblood of this industry. It's clear that many companies, particularly in the West, have chosen to embrace a different vision, using video games not just as a means of entertainment, but also as tools for conveying social, political, and cultural messages. Games like Unknown Nine Awakening or Tales of Kenzera are prime examples of titles that seem designed more to satisfy an ideological agenda than to deliver a memorable experience to players. Now, let me clarify. It's not inherently wrong for video games to address complex themes or incorporate elements of inclusivity. The issue arises when these choices feel forced, when the message overshadows the game itself. Entertainment products should, first and foremost, entertain. Not every player wants to be drawn into social or political debates when they're trying to relax in front of their screen. Take, for example, the new Fable. I admit I'm not a big fan of the series, as I've never played the previous games, but the setting intrigues me. A mystical and surreal world is always appealing. However, the protagonist's design has left me puzzled. Don't get me wrong, this isn't just about appearances. The problem is that in recent years, there seems to be a deliberate trend of making characters less attractive, almost uglified, under the guise of realism. This brings us to an interesting philosophical question. Why do we play video games? What drives us to immerse ourselves in virtual worlds? Isn't it the desire to escape reality, to explore fantastical universes, to live lives we could never experience in the real world? If I want raw, unfiltered realism, I only need to look around me, turn on the news, or step outside. When I boot up a console, I'm seeking an experience that elevates me, that makes me dream. I want memorable characters, gripping stories, and visually stunning worlds. In this regard, I find that the Eastern gaming market is responding far more effectively to the needs of players. Titles like Black Myth: Wukong or Stellar Blade perfectly encapsulate what a video game should be. Works of art that combine engaging gameplay, captivating storytelling, and meticulous attention to character design. The characters in these games are often beautiful, almost idealized, but that's precisely what makes them so appealing. Not because they represent some unattainable ideal, but because they embody the dream, the escape from everyday life. Another example is Genshin Impact, a game that, despite being free to play, has managed to captivate millions of players with its refined aesthetics, enjoyable gameplay, and vibrant, living world. In the East, developers seem to have grasped a fundamental principle. Video games aren't meant to replicate reality, but to surpass it, offering experiences that are as visually rewarding as they are mentally engaging. In contrast, the Western gaming industry seems to be undergoing an identity crisis. Many studios appear to have lost sight of what makes a game truly memorable. There's been endless talk about inclusivity, representation, and social messaging, but is this really what players want? Countless discussions on YouTube, forum posts, and market analyses suggest otherwise. The truth is that most players, both men and women, want compelling characters, well-written stories, and engaging gameplay. Take RPGs as an example. One of their most beloved features is the ability to create your own character. This process can take hours because we want our virtual avatar to look exactly how we imagine it. It's a moment of personal expression, a chance to unleash our creativity. But if the final result is a character we don't like or find aesthetically unappealing, the entire gaming experience suffers. Reflecting on all of this, I can't help but wonder, why don't Western companies take a page from their Eastern counterparts? Why do they continue to impose a worldview on players that, in most cases, doesn't align with what they actually want? Perhaps the answer is more complex than it seems. Maybe there's a reason behind this insistence on using video games to convey political and social messages. But if there is, it's clearly not working. Thankfully, the future looks promising, at least for those willing to look beyond Western borders. 2025 is shaping up to be an extraordinary year for Eastern games, with titles already poised to become masterpieces. And it's not just about graphics or aesthetics. These games seem to understand, on a deeper level, what it truly means to be a gamer. I can't wait to get my hands on these titles, to lose myself in their worlds, and to rediscover that sense of wonder that for me represents the very essence of gaming.